Spain were considered among the most talented teams at Euro 2024's outset, but not necessarily a favorite. Most odds had them behind England, France, Germany, and Portugal. But as they grew into the tournament, there was a feeling of inevitability when it came to them lifting the trophy, and they did. 2 years on, and all signs point to Spain being even stronger. Their young players have improved. Yes, Lamine Yamal is even better than the match-winning 16-year-old from 2 years ago. With most of the core players who won Euro 2024 still being relevant today, other talents starting to break through in important positions, and De La Fuente's evolution from their old tiki-taka style fully realized now, Spain come in as a favorite. For many, maybe even the favorite to lift the trophy at this summer's World Cup. Hi guys, welcome to Contenders Spain, another piece of Rabona TV's World Cup coverage where we are focusing on the top contenders coming into this World Cup tournament. I'll have Ruri Barlow joining me. He's the editor of Football de España and an expert on all things Spanish football. So Spain come into this tournament as the number one ranked team in the world by FIFA rankings, as well as the defending European champions. Their path to qualification was tread relatively easily, not losing a single match, and even beating up on Turkey 6-0 in Turkey at one point. Qualification was already achieved by the time they played their second match against Turkey in Seville, and despite falling behind 2-1, they managed a draw in order to preserve their record of never losing a World Cup qualifier on home soil. Much of the Spanish side is the same as the current champions of Europe. They won't need to drastically overhaul their entire approach at this summer's World Cup. However,
I think we're moving towards a Spain side that's a little bit more controlled. I mean, we've seen in the Euro 2024 season, there was obviously Pedri was in the lineup initially, but then he ends up going out injured in the quarterfinal, and we saw a very direct Spain, and that's partly because they had Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, and I think that's an area of the game that Spain still want to have, and they're still very good at counter-attacking.
But there are a couple of things that could force De La Fuente's hand into moving toward this more controlled approach that Rory mentioned. One, the availability of Pedri, meaning they don't need to be as direct as they were after losing him to the aforementioned injury at Euro 2024, and two, the question marks over the wide men. Nico Williams has been in a bit of injury hell this past season, as he just picked up his third injury of the season with a hamstring strain in mid-May of 2026.
For De La Fuente and Spain, I think the main question has been how much are we loyal to the side that won Euro 2024 and how much are we going to kind of shift towards the players that are in form. Pedri is one of the major factors in that, and Nico Williams is one of the major question marks as to he should be fit to be at the World Cup, but will he be kind of at his kind of full strength?
With how Lamine Yamal's reputation continued to skyrocket really post 2024 victory, it's easy for some people to forget just how high Nico Williams' stock was at the time. Well, Barcelona and Arsenal supporters certainly won't, as he was another signing that always seemed just hours away, right? But that duo was so key to Spain's success. Now, we'll get to Lamine in a moment, but in the case that Williams is unavailable, what does De La Fuente have up his sleeve?
He's tried different players there. So you've got the likes of kind of younger wingers that are also able to kind of beat a defender. The likes of Victor Munoz has been tested out there. We've seen Jesus Rodriguez even. But more often than not, he's tended to go with another midfielder. So the likes of Alex Baena, Fermin Lopez, players that can kind of come inside and then play on that left wing as well nominally. It does also allow Marc Cucurella to kind of get forward a little bit more than perhaps he would with Williams in the side. I still think if De La Fuente has the choice and he has players that he likes in that position in form, then he will go for the more out-and-out winger, somebody that can also beat a defender.
So an in-form Alex Baena would probably be the one to fill in for Williams if he was in form, which does change their playing style. So the left wing will be one of the positions that will have to be fluid for this side and won't necessarily have a direct dribble king of a winger like they will boast on the right. But just as De La Fuente has had to adapt in order to deliver a trophy for Spain in Euro 2024, he will be trusted to adapt Spain's game plan to any opponent or any absence in the squad. Because maybe De La Fuente didn't carry that kind of cachet at first. He was largely questioned when he took over the national team, especially when you're following up someone like Luis Enrique. but his results simply cannot be argued with at this point.
There wasn't a clear kind of direction in his first kind of few games, but he has found that direction since. And Spain, basically, they've not really lost any competitive knockout games apart from the Nations League final against Portugal, which was on penalties. So I think that kind of gets swept to the side a bit. But yeah, I think De La Fuente's choices right now, he's kind of beyond question, and it's more if his players can kind of be up to the level that they need to be.
Now, one of the individuals that we all know is beyond the level of most players on this planet when he's on song, Lamine Yamal, who unfortunately picked up a hamstring injury on April 22nd and missed the remainder of Barcelona's 25-26 season. He has, however, returned to training, a great sign for Spain, and is expected to be fit for the World Cup. With an average successful dribble rate of 54.7% this past season and 55.7% the season prior, Yamal is one of those players whose effectiveness goes beyond tactics, who can force his will on the game to win it for Spain, whether it's through his direct running, his shooting, his crossing, what have you.
He's the one that solves problems, basically. If you have a game that's not going your way, you give the ball to Lamine Yamal. Not only can he give you kind of security in possession, you can give it to him in his own half and he usually won't lose the ball, but he can also unlock a defence from out wide. He can score that goal. He has kind of all three phases of being an attacking player that you really want to be able to unlock a defence. So I think Lamine Yamal is the key player. He will be the star if Spain are to win this World Cup.
And that won't surprise anyone. His contributions as a 16 turning 17-year-old at Euro 2024 were already at a world-beating level. Just think to that goal against France, where he stepped past Adrien Rabiot to put Spain past the French, and this after being challenged by Rabiot in the media. Now, there is no questioning his talent or his ability to deliver with that talent, and that's a big change from the previous tournament. Another change: who will be playing to Lamine Yamal's left in the attack?
You have Mikel Oyarzabal at 9, and he is the kind of big change, I think, in the Spain side from the 2024 team. He's replacing Alvaro Morata, who was at the time the captain. But what Oyarzabal has managed to do more than anything is to be really kind of the linking player up front. He's a number 9 that can drop deep into midfield, provide that superiority of numbers, but also the player in the box who gets on the end of things, as he of course demonstrated in the Euro 2024 final. That's his kind of big strength, is that he can kind of do all faces of the number 9 that De La Fuente wants from him. And he's also been in fantastic form. It's 18 goal contributions in his last 10 Spain games, I think, if I'm correct in saying. And he is very much the kind of underrated star of the side, and the one that I think makes the difference for the Spain team.
Oyarzabal shared the top scorer honours with Mikel Merino in the qualification campaign, both of whom had 6 goals. The midfield, for many, is the first part of the pitch that people think of when they think of the Spanish national team. The pedigree that this national team has for churning out world-class midfielders, guys like Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, World Cup winning midfielders who have inspired the current generation for Spain, right? Pedri, of course, is the biggest name. In qualifying and in Euro 2024, you also saw Fabian Ruiz, Rodri, Zubamendi, Merino. Olmo can play in a more advanced midfield role. I mean, De La Fuente is spoiled for choices in the midfield, and there's still another talent that many have been waiting on his return.
One kind of big question mark is whether Gavi can make it back into the Spain squad as well. Of course, everyone knows about Gavi. He's a household name in world football, but having come back from injury, he's just kind of coming back into form. He's had 5 to 6 really good weeks at Barcelona.
So the attack is looking great. The midfield, incredibly strong. Surely there's a weakness within this team somewhere.
At centre-back, that's where their players have had the most troubles. And if you look at the Spain side that won Euro 2024, it was Lenormand and Laporte were the partnership. Behind them, it was Dani Vivian, who I don't think will even make the squad this time. There's a lot of kind of experience has been lost in that back line. You're likely going to see Laporte and Cubarsí challenging for that spot. And the kind of wild card, I guess, is Marc Boubi, who's been probably, for my money, the best centre-back in Spain this season. He's been playing for Atletico Madrid. He's recently just converted to that position from right back. So he's an interesting kind of, does he come into that side? I think he provides more defensive security for a Spain backline. But yeah, I think Cubarsí and Laporte are the starting partnership. Whether that changes, I think it's an area that other teams will look to exploit first and foremost, because across the rest of the team, you have both settled options and a kind of plethora of quality names, as we mentioned earlier.
Now, in spite of that, Spain's defense is still obviously quite packed with talent, even in looking at the fullback positions where you have Grimaldo and Cucurella on the left, Porro and I guess Pubil on the right. That is, Pubil is still fully capable of playing in his old right back position since he converted to center back this past season. So expectations have got to be absolutely sky high for the Spanish side. A deep run to the semifinals would be considered the minimum expectation, but
all eyes are on the second star, as it's kind of dubbed in Spain. I think after Euro 2024, that tournament victory came as a great surprise, but the fact that since then they've been so convincing and effective in big games. I mean, you look at the way that they handled France in the Nations League before that Portugal game. I think in general you've seen a pretty consistent line of performance over the last 2 years since, and I think you've seen also a lot of Spain's best players get better in that time. But one of the things that's defined this side is it's kind of, whenever it's come up against a challenge, whenever it's come up against adversity, it's kind of come through it. And I think that has kind of installed a real iron faith in this Spain side that they can go all the way in the US.
Now, of course, in these tournaments, you got to beat the best to be the best. Our predictor has Spain just behind England as far as tournament favorites, with a 15.5% chance to win it all. They beat them in a final last time they met, and they may need to beat them along the way to getting that second star once again. But where do you guys foresee Spain finishing in this tournament? An unbelievable crash early on? Do you see Lamine Yamal cementing his legacy as a Spanish all-timer at the age of 19 by the time the final is played? A big thank you to Rory for his help, and once again, thank you for watching. We have so much more coverage for you, so be sure to subscribe. We want to be your home for World Cup coverage before and during this tournament, and you won't want to miss a thing. I'm Adrian, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.